Hello and welcome to the Chris Evans podcast. I got to tell you, the studios never look better. What I'm used to looking in this studio. So glad you're with us today. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. The year is going by so fast. We are talking municipal pool, swimming pool in Highland Park today. And I got my good friends here at Carol's side. Miss Betty Burline, everyone knows Miss Betty, and of course Maneka Gibbs. I don't know if I should say Councilwoman Maneka Gibbs now, but first of all, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Very cool deal
Appreciate
for
it.
you. So, one election, everything. You had to go a couple rounds, but you got in there.
That was tough.
Yeah.
Not my favorite.
No, I've never gone through that process, but that would be my least favorite part.
It was not my favorite. You learn a lot.
Yeah. So, as many people in Guthrie know about the swimming pool issues, we'll talk about a little bit about the history, but it's been closed down for a couple of years to a myriad of reasons that we'll get into here in a little bit. But it is a swimming pool that you guys are you got family, lifeguard. You guys live near the pool.
Yes, and I'm a grandma that my grandchildren are like, when is it opening?
Yeah, and I spent many days there as well. My mom still lives right across the street from the park, so we lots to get to, a lot of good things as well. But an old pool built in the 1930s, right? 1939, late 30s, early 40s, somewhere in there. I haven't been able to find a definite answer.
I'm fairly confident it was part of the finished in 1949 with the WPA project.
Okay, 49.
So it finished with Highland Hall. So they were trying to finish up sandstone project on the Highland Hall, thought that we could quarry enough of it of our own. Couldn't, and they actually had to bring in more from an outside quarry and finish up fundraising efforts with donations, and the Chamber of Commerce chipped in to finish up the building of Highland Hall and Highland Park Pool. So, there's a history of building community needs here. So I thought that was really cool to look that up and find that as well. It's not the first time it's happened there at Highland Park.
Interesting. And so it's a pool that is very similar to a lot of older pools that were built during that time frame as well. So it's just it's a big old pool. I mean, there's no features, especially when they took the diving boards out. So.
Do you remember the diving board?
Oh, yeah.
Betty said there were 5.
Mm-hmm.
5. Oh, I remember 2.
Well, and some pools, some of the WPA pools in different communities had slides as well.
I didn't know
Some of them had the old, when I looked at my grandma's pictures, the old WPA pool in Cushing, because my grandma had family in Cushing. I just found these pictures this last weekend. They had 2 metal slides.
Oh.
And a diving board before they redid.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So the ones that really burned you.
Oh, I know, because they were so hot.
Yes.
Yeah. It gave older kids something to do at a pool. And, so the little kids are having swimming lessons, but what are we want to attract teenagers, and having slides and boards. It gives older kids, getting your high school athletes in there.
I don't know if they let us do that anymore.
No, I know.
Well, one of my favorite movies growing up was The Sandlot, and the big part of the story was the pool with Winnie Peppercorn.
Yes.
There, and so a lot of history. That was about when I was a kid, and so we had a lot of fun with that, and the diving boards, and gutter ball was always a big deal because they had the gutters and throw the tennis ball into the gutters. So.
Yep.
And that's where I learned. That's where I took my swim lessons, and I still remember the 2 pretty girls. My Winnie Peppercorns. Yeah.
How many cute girls were you hanging out with?
Angela Woodard was one of them. Now Angela Stout, but she was one of them. Suzanne Herzl, she was one of them. So it's funny how the things you remember from your child. We better digress on that conversation. But Joe Stout was there too. He was dark, tan all the time. So I can go right back to many pool deals. So let's fast forward a little bit. And Carol, not originally from here. You got here as fast as you could.
I did.
And you did a lot of things behind the scenes to help the pool as it was operating before it closed down in 2023.
Yeah, so when I moved here, Chris, I was so excited. The pool, as you know, is in such a beautiful setting. And living right near Highland Park as I do, I was just like, this is like living the dream. And then I went to the pool and I realized it was a nightmare, not a dream. And the dressing rooms alone, I almost just turned around and left. I'm not kidding. I'm like, you're joking. You're just joking.
You walk through
You
them
just
fast.
walk through.
Really
fast. You just do a
And
real
the
quick
slime
view.
was like this deep, and I don't want to talk about it. It is
Please
disgusting.
don't.
And then I went out to the pool. My grandchildren were taking swimming lessons, and I went out to the pool itself, and I'm like, where do I sit down? There was not a single chair. There was no shade. There was 2 little tiny shade structures, which are beautiful, but they're about as big as this table, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I just kept looking around like, really? Am I missing something here? Because this... And so I started thinking, we need to just do some grassroots fundraising and give some love to our pool. And so I called Joe Chappell and got some other folks together, and we just started all contributing personal money and we bought chairs and lounge chairs and umbrellas and bases. And then we got a group of volunteers. Hope House jumped in, and we painted the entire inside, all with donated paint from our private funding. And then we painted 2 of the outside walls. And we then the really big thing is we got this rubber matting that has holes in it. And one of our volunteers spent days on his hands and knees custom making it throughout the entire pool house. So when you walked in, you're walking on rubber matting.
Can you tell me how many times I slipped and fell on that?
See what I mean?
It hurt so bad.
It was disgusting. And so we were so excited about it. And then very, very soon after that, they closed the pool. Yeah. And then I stabbed myself with a knife because I couldn't believe after all that.
Yeah.
And it looked so beautiful. Joe Chappell would send me pictures. He's like, this looks better than the country club. It just looks so lovely. And we were really proud of it. And everyone would come up to me on the street, thank you. And attendance went way, way up. And it was a wonderful experience. And so we're in phase 2 now of it.
Yeah. And, having Maneka here will help a whole lot with being on a CIP and city council and part of this deal. So she'll bring a lot of wealth to this. But it started showing its age, and the city kind of got a little bit lucky, I guess, because there are oversight from the state. And, we kind of got lucky with some ADA stuff, that hadn't been updated, but they kind of do this, do that, and you'll be okay. It wasn't full where it should be and will be. Patching the pool together. The water and the pool at one time was leaking 40,000 gallons a day.
That pool got limped along for quite significant number of years for its age.
Ms. Beck, I was going to ask you, so the weirdest thing about this is it leaked 40,000 gallons of water per day, but there was never anything wet. It was like, where's 40,000 gallons of water going from? Did you ever see?
It was hard to believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that is really hard to believe, but you have to also remember that, how deep that pool is and how far down water saturation can go.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to come up. In any kind of instance, water saturation can go down and out. And it didn't have to come from just the pool itself. That could be the piping around the pool. It can be anything from the guttering system or anything from you saying, you played ball and it would go in the gutter. They didn't really pinpoint exactly where that was coming from. We had a diagram that was presented that showed all of the crack and leakage potential areas, but that surface, we were never given and didn't really get down to what maybe was underneath that.
Yeah.
And maybe what could have been a little deeper. That concrete is rather old,
Yeah, and I've learned, all the pool stories. If it's an Alva, Hennessy, or wherever you watch a little bit closer now, and even Pelican Bay, which we can talk about here in a little bit. I know City of Edmonds putting, I think, $7 million into Pelican Bay because it leaks like 20,000 gallons or whatever it is. But it's like, so I guess it's just a natural time.
So that happens with other pools. This is unique.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Me neither. I was like, well, even Pelican Bay leaks. We're not unique. Like I was right. It's not just a Guthrie thing.
I would also imagine that the technology of pool building
Yes,
is.
I hope so. I would hope so.
It has improved since
Hopefully.
1949, and there's probably a few more barriers between layers now than maybe what once was. whenever they were put into place. And I'm sure it's probably not PVC piping under there.
Probably not.
So, there's a lot in there to try to figure out and try to speculate as to how the leaking can happen. But, whenever it's looking at that, and we were in a drought for so long,
Yes.
We've been incredibly blessed this entire year with rain beyond measure.
Yep.
But we don't know when that's going to happen again.
Exactly. So the pool was closed during COVID for 2020. Then it was back open 21 and 22. And then, as you mentioned, the drought and the deterioration of the pool, City Council at the time in 23 of May decided to close the pool. And City, with that decision, made swimming available for City of Guthrie residents, and to go to Edmond and pay that way there, which is still same situation as well. So fast forward now, I think it was in April, the City Council got to see a presentation, which I believe the Park Board got to see it maybe a week or two before that, of what was originally given as the option A. Now there's a couple of options since you guys have brought this to the front. Option A was a 1,500 square foot, 1,527 if you want to be precise, with a capacity of 102, which also includes lifeguards, for a cost of $2.1 million. It had a 0 entry, slides, and ADA, but you guys said, hold on, it's not what we
Can I
would like to
address
see.
something?
Absolutely.
Okay, Chris. So I'm on the park board and I'm also on the YMCA board.
Yep.
And neither organization were ever brought in on this planning. We were never given any, and we would ask at every park board meeting, I would put it on the agenda. Could we know what's going on with the pool? Oh, you're going to love it. It's going to be great. And then I had to be out of town for business when they did the park meeting, the pool meeting. Mm-hmm. And so the head of the board, Stephen, called me up, I think it was in California for work, and he's like, well, it's 1/4 the size of the existing pool. I should also mention that I taught water aerobics at our pool when it was open, and it was completely maxed out. There was no space for anyone else. Like, the pool was full. And then when the camp kids would come, the YMCA camp, there would be 100 children that would appear.
Oh, yeah.
And my grandchildren would be like, can we go home now? Because they couldn't even get in the pool. And so we also kept being fed this number, and I'm not sure, I think it was an innocent mistake, but that there were like 30 people a day in the pool. And we kept saying, no. Caitlin had it all printed out from the Y, officially, numbers, how many adults, how many children, swim lessons, water aerobics, all the different things. And it was a vastly different number. And we kept mentioning that, and they kept saying, no, it's 30. I'm like, well, I taught there, it's not 30, and anyone who's been to the pool. So I think a lot of things took place without the so-called most invested people being brought into the circle. And the leaders of the YMCA came to look at a building here with our board, and they said to me, we are very troubled that we were never consulted about the design of this pool, and yet we're expected to run it. And they said to me, we have no desire to run the design that was created. It is a lifeguarding nightmare. The smaller a pool is, the more dangerous it is. You can't see, if a child's drowning and everyone's like this. And they said, we're not interested in running a pool of that design.
Well, and I'm on the YMCA board with you as well, and I was not able to be at that meeting. I would say, well, if they don't want to, I would suggest if they want to be a part of that, maybe they'd be help out here in a little bit with the QR code, and they can help fund the pool as well. So if they want to do this or that, maybe they can help donate this as well. So, and for the reference, the city the YMCA operates the pool for the city of Guthrie. In fact, the city of Guthrie in the past has given them $10,000
Yes, they
to
have.
run the pool. So the YMCA is an investor, so maybe they can be a little bit more invested. And I'm saying that as a YMCA advisory board member as well. So, when we get off of here, go talk to the YMCA, the
Well, those are
brass.
the big shots.
And I'm not saying the big shots from the big office. I'm not talking about sweet Caitlin.
That one's from the greater OKC.
Greater,
That's right.
yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's
Not here
Not
locally.
sweet
Caitlin does a great job.
She's out.
Phenomenal job.
YMCA is
Caitlin's
we're-
fantastic.
We're advisory. They make the decision. They make all
Yes.
the financial decisions.
do.
Yes.
And they've, the Y has gone in with like City of Edmond Public
Yes.
Schools, so they have a history of that. So,
An early wine. Right now, they've got a large one with Midwest City and Del City going right now.
yeah.
Like-
so we're loving the idea of a partnership, Maneka.
Yes.
We're like,
Yes.
bring it in. We
Yes.
would
Yeah.
love a
Yes.
partnership.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, they got opinions. Let's
That one. I have that one rolling around.
good.
With
Good,
a
I
couple
love
other,
that.
hopefully, opportunities as well for a much larger facility because community center is much needed by everyone here.
Yes.
So I'd like to see that happen on a much larger scale, not just an outdoor pool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was, a CIP sales tax, which I think and there was a CIP committee put together, and I think the pool really brought that committee together to look at other options. ADA intersections, ball fields, water lines, sewer lines, swimming pool. So CIP committee came together and said, funding issue, not necessarily size. So there's $2 million. Okay, $2 million there, and then that's when this first option came out that you guys saw, and said, maybe we can look at a little bit different. And so there was another city council meeting with the architecture and the construction crew. And so now there's option B and option C. And so and we did learn at the city council meeting, Joe Chappell did a fantastic job with that. Hopefully I can incorporate some of that with the article here, but did a fantastic job. And so the one thing I did learn that the pool will not be open next year, no matter what happens, right?
That was Eddie's speculation, but I got the timeline, and it looked to be where there's maybe like a little lull in months where they wouldn't be able to fill the pool for testing, during winter months. So, I think maybe if we get this in the next 30 days, we're really only 30 days behind.
Okay,
At this point.
because ideally, it would all be getting about right now-ish. If it was a perfect plan and everyone loved
Yes,
it.
if it was a perfect plan, we would be permitting right now.
Yeah,
And on the timeline, I asked for the construction timeline, and I'm happy to email it over to you if
Okay,
you don't
yeah,
have it.
yeah.
We're about 30 days behind right now.
Okay.
So being 30 to 60 days behind in construction time, really not too terrible.
Okay.
And Crossland is a really great general contractor.
Yes.
If they can build a school in a year, they can build a pool in less.
Yeah, and actually, I think they were ahead of schedule on
They
the
were
school.
ahead
Yeah,
of schedule with all the rain and everything we
Yeah,
had. So
that's true.
I don't put it past them that if we were to give them, a couple months less, that they couldn't get the job done. I really,
Okay.
they're a good builder.
Awesome.
And Stephen has mentioned the idea, Maneka, correct me if I'm wrong, that it would be maybe possible to start on the pool house and the pump house while the rest of the pool money is being raised.
Yeah, and that's the other part. It's a kind of a 3-phase deal because there's a pool and, as you said, equipment house to store all the chemicals and the pumps and all that go with that, and plus the actual the locker rooms or dressing rooms or whatever. And so, so you guys kind of went to the council and showed, hey, is there anything else we can maybe look at besides this pool? And then Crossland and the architects came back with option B and option C. Option B being the largest at 3,500 square feet, which would be more than double currently what is there. Now the price, and there's more upgrades.
Excuse me, double what?
The capacity, square feet.
Of the first
Oh,
Yes. Of the first one, yes.
I'm
yes.
First
sorry, Chris.
proposed, not the pool that's
Not
there.
the
Yeah,
existing
yeah.
pool.
The option that was given first was 1,500 square foot. The option B would be 3,500 square feet, and there's some upgrades. The
That's still
capacity
half of
would
what we-
increase.
That's still half of what we have now.
Correct. Correct. Still half what we would have now.
And the option C pool, to give a reference of the size, is about the same size as the Guthrie Country Club pool.
Okay.
That 2,300 square feet that we
That's a
talked
good
about,
idea.
that's about the same size pool.
Okay.
And
Which is
what the
is that
new
the-
one, Minecca?
The
option C.
Option C.
The middle, kind of the.
No, but the new pool at the country club, which is much smaller than its original.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought.
The original one was what, Olympic size? It
Yeah,
was
it was
giant.
huge.
It was just double what it is.
Or right.
They just covered up half of it.
Right, they covered up half of it. But what's out there is swimmable space at the moment. When they went out there to measure it, Joe said that it was about 2,300 square feet.
Okay.
So it's about that same size.
Okay.
And that sucker gets full too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, the original idea plan was 2.1 million. Option B, which is the 3,500 square feet, would be 3.5 million. And option C, which is kind of the middle ground, 2,300 square feet at 2.9 million. So we do know the city has 2 million ish to work with, 2 to 2.5, somewhere in that range to work with. And so now that kind of brings you guys into, it was kind of funny at council last night. We don't know if you're a group, a committee, or what you guys
We're
are.
just a bunch of
A passionate,
grassroots.
passionate,
Citizen.
and I love
That's
it.
all we
I
are.
love
We're
it.
just citizens.
I know, I finally I went with collective.
Collective,
That's good.
yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
works.
good.
I like
Because we're collecting.
And that's where we come here collecting money. So after all that discussion, I'm sure everybody in town saw a bunch of these signs around town. And so if you guys want to kind of talk about the thought process of coming together and what that looked like as we look to raise funds to get to a pool that we'd be proud of.
No, I thought I was here to tell, but
the history.
when I started, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I think we just wanted, we know that we're under a time commitment and limitation, and we wanted to get some excitement and some buzz about the pool, because everywhere I go, I don't know if you ladies are experiencing this, everyone wants to talk about what's the plan, when's it opening, what about water aerobics, what about swimming lessons, we're so excited. And I'm like, okay, we'll get out your checkbooks,
Yeah.
because we're coming. But our dream, Chris, is to partner with corporate entities. So I guess I'm kind of a visionary, because even $10 million to me is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. When you look at the list of people that we're going to be contacting in the next few weeks, I really believe that this is not a problem. I don't want us to be living with an attitude of lack. It's like, this is not a lot of money for a community this size and for all the corporate possibilities that we have for partnerships and private donations as well. So I just think this can be done. I hate that we have to be under this kind of a do it in a month kind of thing. I think that's a little unfair, because we were brought in very, very late on this process. But we'll do what we can do, and we'll work our little toes off. I don't know. What do you think, Minecca?
Well, and I know you. I'm going to kind of lead into Minecca on this
Yeah,
part, because Minecca was part of the CIP committee. Then she got big time and came on the council, so she knows all that process.
Yes.
But you know, during those CIP meetings, we were talking about, you know, $2 million pool or whatever that we didn't know details
Those
of it.
were
all.
tough. I mean, I was pushing for 4.
Yeah.
Everybody said, what? Dr. Simmons especially, you know, a lot of, you know, of course everybody wants large community efforts, but whenever our infrastructure needs are so large and so drastic, sitting down and really carving that out with everybody at that table was really important for everybody to understand just how important not only our safety measures are to get a second fire station to meet our safety needs to our residents at a quicker time, and not have to drive all the way down Division and meet those standards and try to have our response quicker to Southern Logan County and faster. But what that looked like and how we can make these tax dollars, which is only an estimate of $14 million over a period of time,
15 years,
you know, and you're looking at infrastructure needs totaling like $53 million, which is $1 million a mile. and replacement of pipeline. So when you're looking at all of those needs, what can we really do with the small amount of money to make the largest impact? And I really think, Chris, that that committee really stretched those dollars as far as we could from those who filled out the survey when we put it out there, and really tried to meet the needs and allocation as much as we could.
Well,
And I think the city's been very gracious and very generous, and I'm not in any way complaining. I just feel like this is where the private sector partners.
No, I
with the city.
completely agree. I feel very strongly about that. I mean, I fundraise for almost everything that we do. I partner with the schools with almost anything. So,
Exactly.
Mick, if I can go back to the CIP meeting, the original idea was, for the committee-wise anyway, which was adopted by the council, was if we can build a $2 million pool, maybe down the line we can add more money
we
to
could
add
phase
on,
an additional
phase it.
phase.
And
Yes.
so that was the discussion. Is that possibly with what you guys
that's
are wanting to
something
do as
we
well?
have also talked
Yes,
about.
yeah,
Was to add on to and have an additional phase out.
yeah. As funds became more available.
More available.
And I totally agree. And the city council, I thought, did a great job of allowing extra time for you guys to do more work. Do you need more time? Absolutely, you need more time. But if you can kind of talk, if you can't get it within 30 days or 60 days, and it's be realistic. That's hard to draw that much money in 30 days.
It is.
But could get maybe the project going and then continue your efforts and add on.
Betty, we've talked a lot about that, you and I. Why don't you address that?
I don't know how difficult it is to add on to a pool. I personally would like to see, let's do it right the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get it the way we want it, rather than
She's been the voice
piecemeal.
of reason on this.
Yeah.
She has.
And I totally agree with that. It's just,
I know.
where's the fun?
I
It's a
know.
tough. I
We're
absolutely
between
agree.
a rock
Yeah,
and a hard place.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
So what
And,
do? You just cut off the end of the pool and bulldoze it down, and then
think
add
it
some more. I
seems
mean,
silly.
I'm
Well, I
I'm
just-
far from an engineer, but that's the way it makes sense for me too. But I'm sure hopefully they're way smarter than I am.
I think maybe from looking at the amount of area that is actually available at Highland, it wouldn't be a matter of cutting off any of the pool area. It would just be a matter of adding additional pool-like features or adding maybe a deeper pool attached to it that is deeper for diving boards and
it will allow us to have diving
adding
boards.
an aquatic feature, or you know what I mean. So you're not digging into any part that's already existing. Would just essentially be fencing it off during the off time, and it would be drained anyway. So you're just be fencing it off and then working on another construction portion of an area that wasn't there previous.
Yeah.
It's been done in other areas as well. I know we have multiple phases to the ball fields, and so we've had to phase out that project as well. It's also phased, so we're at phase 1A at the moment, and so working in that one.
And the other part of this whole deal, it is frustrating because if you and I went out and bought a pool, we can build a big pool and stretch our dollars a whole lot more. Government entities, there's engineering, there's architects, there's guidelines. So there's so much more red tape, if you will, for a government agency to overlook that. Not just ball fields, but streets, roads, ball fields, light. There's a lot of moving parts.
Well, and we're not just looking at, $2 million for only a pool. We're looking at $1 million for renovations and $1 million for a pool.
Yeah.
So we're trying to raise as much money as we can for swimmable space.
Yes.
That's right.
So that's what
That's it.
this group is
That's
looking
it.
for.
Swimmable space.
This group is looking for donations for swimmable space. Enough space that, we're moving past the walk-in space, and we're digging into what is swimmable space after that. So increasing the size of the pool and what that looks like. And what it looks like to those who donate is a tax write-off.
Yes.
And anybody who files their taxes in October, which is me, that could be helpful right about
Yep.
this time of year to write that check for a donation. So,
right.
and it gets all donated to Neighborhood Solutions.
Right. So you'll get a tax deductible letter for your taxes and for your CPA or whatever. And I'll tell you something, Chris. I couldn't sell like vacuum cleaners door to door, but when it involves children, I will stand on street corners with a tin can.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you.
Oh, I've stood on street corner holding signs for a bond issue.
That's right.
I got pictures.
Exactly. So I have actually said to several of my friends, I need $1 million. And then they kind of blank. But they don't say no.
Yeah.
They think about it, and one of them has made a very, very, very large donation to us already. And I'm not stopping. I mean, I will talk to anyone about this.
And I love the passion, and that's why we're here trying to get this promoted as well to help you guys out. So obviously, we've seen the signs, and people can actually scan that. If you see a sign, actually you can scan it right now on your phone if you have that chance to scan that. But if they want to talk to you more, how, besides just scanning that, how can they contact you guys to talk about that?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they
So there is an event that is set up on Facebook, and it is set up on the, is it the Arbor Day? The park board.
Park board? Okay.
Yep, the park board set it up.
People can also come to park board meetings. They may not know that. And if they just arrange ahead of time that they would like to speak, they can be added to the docket.
Let me see. I'm gonna find that
There's
right now.
And anyone who wants to volunteer and help us, we normally meet at my house right near the park, and anyone is welcome. We will take you. We
Yep.
would love you to come.
That's
Highland Park Arbor Day fundraiser.
Okay.
And that's on Facebook?
It is on Facebook. That's the name of the page. And there is an event on there, and
Date? What's the date?
the event is Tuesday, June 24th.
June? Have we passed it?
Yeah.
We've passed it, but
Oh,
it's
well.
still on there. It
Okay,
still
they
gives
can
you
still-
more information on.
Okay, great.
So it's still on there, and it gives you more information. I will have Aubrey goes on here. Aubrey Shore is the
Yeah.
one who posted this.
Okay.
So I'll have her
she's
go
on
on there
Park Board.
and get with Steven and post some more additional information, including our solicitation letter, and I believe we have some donation letters and levels.
Yes, we do. So our dream is on the pump house to put like diamond, platinum, gold, silver donors, and the level at which that donation qualifies them for that. I'm also hoping that the city would welcome the idea of a very large donor being given the blessing of their name. Maybe I'm thinking maybe Joe's mom, who just
Right,
went to
right.
glory, or who knows, like families saying, let's take a family foundation and honor our family in this way, our parent, and name a pool after them. I would be, if my kids did that, I would be like that. I couldn't think of anything I'd rather you do than that.
Yeah, we see that a lot with, professional sports with their, the Paycom Center.
That's right.
And we've seen it with swimming pools. I think the Alva Pool had a big donation there. So there's so many different pools that in small towns and big towns that have been successful. And there's so much hard work, as you guys are on ground zero on that, so much hard work to get that to that level. But they've been able to do it. And so I think, with you guys' passion and getting the word out that it can happen here as well.
And the thing is that we will take any size donation. I don't want to intimidate people when I say I'm asking.
No, it can be $5.
That's exactly
I mean, they
right.
want to get on there and
I
scan
just
that
wanna
QR
clarify
code,
that.
and they want to just give $5.
That's right.
They give $1.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Trace came downstairs with a little piggy bank and was like,
Yes.
"Here,
Yes.
can I give this?" I said,
Oh.
"Well, it's got to be like
You
try."
bet your booty. But that is so precious, and it's true. And can we talk about the value of a pool? Do you mind if we?
Oh, sure. We
talk
got
little
a
bit
few
about that?
moments left. Sure.
Okay, well, so I'm an educational consultant for the last about 48 years. And so I think the things that power my passion is that children ages 1 through 4, the most apt they are to tragically die will be through drowning. And children 5 through 8, second most apt cause of death for them. And then childhood obesity, according to Johns Hopkins, I can't get that name all together on my tongue, medical says that childhood obesity is the number one health concern in America for children, childhood obesity. And then if you've ever been with my friend Colleen, who I was on the park board with, retired school teacher here in town, when she starts talking about our teenagers in this community, and they have nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Yeah.
And the kids like you, Chris, who grew up at this pool, and Betty, as the teacher of these kids, this was the social hub, from what I've been told, of our community. Yeah. And so it's not just for the little kids. It's not just for, water aerobics and swimming lessons, although those things are incredibly important. But it's also to give our community a focus and a culture that kids are proud to live here and they grow up as friends. I personally grew up at a pool my whole summers as a child, and I think it changed me. I was never inside. I was outside all day long. And I know you all know the research as parents about screen time versus green time and the lack of physical ability. Kids in America have no sense of balance. I mean, this is what I do for a living, so I could talk for hours about this. But this isn't just a place to get a suntan. This is a place that I believe will save children's lives and adults' lives. Yeah. Because water safety is a skill we owe to everyone in our community, and the poor kids don't have another way to obtain it.
It was definitely a priority for us to get our 2 boys, who are now older, to get their swimming lessons in, just not only for fun, but just in case something silly were to happen, So, but as someone kind of watching from the sidelines right now with what you guys are doing in the city, I think everyone's working really hard to the deal. And I would just say it is a 30-day window. And I hope you guys find $7 million in the next 20 minutes after you get here.
Next hour.
But I think the 30 days was a nice grace to kind of get it kick-started, but I think it goes beyond that as well. So whether it's, I don't know what the options would look like for next year, but the ability to expand is a thing that should be there. And I know the city's got a lot of $1 million, as Maneka well said, with water sewer lines, but maybe something happens with extra money comes in somewhere, a grant, or a big donation somewhere. So hopefully this all can come together.
Chris, I know you did a lot of praying, and you had some answered prayers this week.
You did?
With some extra money on that was really needed.
The ball fields.
For the ball fields.
Yes.
We're really looking for extra money. I cannot believe that came through. Extremely needed.
And I was helping a lot with the ball field, so I know exactly the ups and downs of what your process is. Like, okay, we got this. Oh, wait, no, we got to. False alarm. Yeah. So I completely understand what it is. And then people start talking. You got to count. You got to listen to it. But it's frustrating at times. You get uplifted at times. But as Maneka said, positive news. We were supposed to be playing in this new place a couple of years ago, and only dirt work has been done. So I totally understand the pool group committee. Collective is coming from. So I just a reminder, if you have not scanned it, scan it, and let's begin making a bigger pool for Guthrie that we can all be proud of. And again, if you cannot scan that somehow, find a yard sign out. There's tons down Noble Avenue. I see them all the time. So do that. If not, Maneka has a public email now since she's a Miss Councilwoman. So of all else, fellas, if you can't find her on Facebook, she does have a public email now. So
I do have a public email. And Facebook, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So if you guys want to have one final thought each, and then we can wrap this up and begin collecting dollars.
Well, I just want to know how long the pool has been important to Betty.
Thank you. You said it was finished in 49.
Yes.
And I was thinking I had been there when I was 6, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was 8 in 1950. My 2 brothers and I took swim lessons. We ended up going all the way to senior life saving and instructor. We taught. We were lifeguards. when I graduated college, then I left town, but I think my brother and sister-in-law took over, but that we taught tons and tons and tons of kids. I don't know if you saw them come in, you weren't here, but if you saw them come in on buses from Crescent and Orlando and I don't know, everywhere, hundreds of kids. We had an amazing Red Cross program.
Yeah.
And talk about the water festivals that you guys.
Well, at the end of the instructional, we'd have a big carnival, and we'd have races, and we'd have demonstrations, and we'd have kids diving, and we had awards. We had parents and grandparents, and it was a huge, wonderful thing. We started teaching probably 1 week after school was out, and taught for 2 or 3 weeks. The lessons, hundreds of kids. I heard somebody say, no, it's better to teach the kids individually. Well, that works, but if you've got a group of 6 or 8 kids, and little Johnny doesn't want to put his face in the water, but Mary did,
Yeah.
then Johnny thinks, well, maybe I can too. It doesn't matter how you teach. The kids need to know.
Yeah.
Our folks, neither one of them swam, and they insisted that we would learn. And then we all ended up being lifeguards and instructors. So that's my background.
Well,
and it's so important.
It's so cool to hear because I remember my swim instructors, and I remember blowing bubbles, going to the side, and we had stages. Stage 10 was in the deep end, and that was the ultimate goal, man. We stage 1, 2, and you're looking down there. Oh, I need to practice a little bit more. They're doing the crawl, and we're just learning how to do it. And then you get to stage 10, you get to go to the diving board for the first time. And then I remember having to take a pair of jeans. We had to blow air into the jeans and tie them around. So
That was life-saving.
yeah, that was, yes. And so I remember that like it was yesterday. So, and I remember my teachers. So I'm sure many people have stories like that. So
we need a pool desperately.
Yeah, absolutely.
A good pool.
A real pool.
A pool
A
that we can
swimming
do all that.
Swimmable area.
Swimmable area. That's so
Swimmable
2025, Maneka.
That's a politically correct way to
Yes,
say.
yes.
Actually, that's what Betty said in our last meeting. We need swimmable area.
There you go.
Very cool.
'Cause she's a lifeguard.
Yep.
And you were the aquatic director, you told me.
Well, for a while.
See?
Then my brother.
Yeah.
His wife.
All right. Don't forget to talk to YMCA. We're having a very good year over there with memberships and everything. So
Okay.
I know it's a different pot of money,
Right.
but
Well, he said to me, well, we're a nonprofit. And he kind of poor-mouthed. I ask people for money. I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed to beg for children.
well, why can help? Why can help?
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining today, and
Thank you for
hopefully
having us.
best of luck with the fundraising effort. I know you guys will do it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
That'll do it. Don't forget, scan that code or email Maneka or find some of these that are on the streets downtown Guthrie. So be sure to reach out to them. And hopefully we'll have a pool that we're all proud of. So we'll talk soon. Have a great day and great weekend.